Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I posted, but let's give this another try. It's been how long? 10 months? Less, probably 6 months since my last video, but yeah, I'm back at it. I'm gonna try to post more regularly whenever I have time. But in today's video, we're going to talk about cables. Um, I wanted to I wanted to say audio cables, but since there is one cable that I want to talk about that is not audio, I'm gonna just say cables. So before I start talking about the cables, I wanna talk about balanced and unbalanced signals. I won't get super deep into it because I want to keep this video mostly about cables. But basically, the difference between an unbalanced cable and a balanced cable is that you can go further and get a more strong signal with a balanced cable. For example, if you have your source and your output, for example, 50 feet apart, it wouldn't be the best idea to use an unbalanced cable, for example, an RCA cable. The reason being, the unbalanced cables pick up a lot of noise, a lot of ground noise, and they're not shielded. So even for short distances, for example, even if you're connecting your audio source to your output, and then you're just coiling the rest of the cords in one place, that would be a terrible idea. With unbalanced cables, you would want to put them parallel into each other. If you know anything about physics, you would know that all these cables have an electromagnetic field, and basically what you're doing when you coil them up when they're unbalanced is you're basically boosting them up, because this is just one coil. How it works is the electromagnetic field, so if this is the cable, just rotates around the cable and just goes around it. Now imagine if you add another coil. Now you're doubling it. I think so. I think so. I know that it'll increase it. I don't know if it doubles it or not, but I think so. And then just the more you do it, the worse the situation will become. But the good news is, if you're using balance cables, you won't have that problem at all. You can coil them, you can run them as long as you want, and balance cables won't give you any trouble at all. So the first cable that I want to talk about is the RCA cable. You have probably seen this cable in your home setup, for example, in the home theater setups, or even in DJ setups. This is probably the first audio cable that I saw in my life without knowing what it is. I just remember when I had a PS2, it used an RCA cable to connect to our TV. So I just knew that there are three cables: video cable, and there were two others that's I didn't know what they are, but I just knew I should plug them in and match the colors. So this is what an RCA cable looks like. This is just for the audio. This is without the video, because we are focusing on audio today. RCA cable is unbalanced, so you will have that problem that I mentioned about ground noise and the electromagnetic thing. You will have that problem if you coil them or if you run them super long. But from time to time, you might have to use an RCA cable, for example, for a DJ setup, because as far as I know, most of the DJ gear, they use RCA cables for some reason, which I don't know why, but they do. So another use case for RCA cables is connecting your prosumer or even consumer level equipment to your professional audio setup. For example, you're setting up an event and your client, for example, have their own projector. Now, if it's not a super huge event, what you want to do is just connect the laptop to the projector, and then get an RCA out from that projector and go to your mixing console. Again, if you're going to run that cable for too long, that wouldn't be a good idea. But I'm just talking about small setups that don't require a lot of cabling, and you just want to make it work with the least amount of equipment possible. Next up is XLR cables. XLR cables are probably everyone's favorites because they don't have that noise pickup issue because they're balanced, and it's pretty much industry standard to use XLR. And you can run them as long as you want. You can coil them up. You can do whatever you want to them. And it doesn't matter what type of audio system you're working with. If you're in a recording studio, if you're setting up for a corporate event, if you're setting up for a live event, live performance, XLR is the go-to cable for audio, and it doesn't matter what setup it is. And this is what an XLR cable looks like. This is the male and this is the female. It comes with 3 pins. One is ground and the other 2 is hot signal and cold signal. The next 2 cables that I want to talk about, they're pretty similar. If you look at them, even in their names, they sound alike. It's TRS and TS. The difference between them is one is balanced and the other one is unbalanced. The TS cable is the unbalanced one. So what it looks like is this. You might have seen this if you have a guitar or any instrument that gives you a 1/4 inch output. And this is a TRS cable. Now, you might say they look very much alike. What's the difference? Well, just from the appearance, the TRS cable has 2 rings and the TS cable has 1. TS is cheaper, so it's used for shorter runs. For example, if you want to connect your guitar to your amplifier or your guitar to a DI that goes into the mixer. And since it's going to be a short cable anyways, it won't pick up that much noise and won't interfere with your setup a lot. But again, if you're setting up in a way that you're going to run a long cable, a TRS would be a better option because it's balanced. You can run it as long as you want. It won't pick up any noise. The next cable is not an audio cable. To some people, it's known as printer cable because that's what you use to connect printers into your computer. There are many devices that require this cable to get connected to your PC. This cable is a USB-A to USB-B. You use this cable to connect a wide variety of equipment to your computer. For example, your audio interface, your MIDI keyboards. Another type of cable that you might end up using in your setup is the optical cable. I had never used it personally until recently, but optical cable is a digital cable, so they transmit data as a digital signal. How these cables work is really interesting. They use light signal. So if you actually put your flashlight onto one end, and then if you look at the other end, you can actually see the light coming through. It's really interesting. If you have one handy, you should absolutely try it. The last cable that I want to talk about is the MIDI cable. This particular cable that I'm holding in my hands, I've had this for I think 10 years now. I got it probably 10 years ago when I was 15. It has not traveled with me to Canada. My parents actually shipped it to me, so it's really special to me. But I'm just going to explain what it is. It's basically, one end is just a USB cable, and the other end looks like this. There's 2 cables, and they're both not the same, but look the same. These cables have 4 pins each, and one is labeled, if you can see, no, one is labeled in, the other one is labeled out. And the interesting thing with them is when plugging them in, for example, on your MIDI keyboard. If you go to the back of your MIDI keyboard, you'll see that even on the MIDI keyboard there is an in and there's an out. So you would think that the in cable would go to in and then the out would go to out, right? But it's actually the opposite, because it's a flow. So the in cable goes to out, and you're getting an output from your keyboard, which goes into this input and goes to your computer, and then this is an output. So the output is coming from your computer, and you want it to go into your MIDI keyboard. So you should plug the out into in and then in into out. But yeah, that was today's video. It was quite short, but I hope in the future I can make longer videos and put in more time and thoughts into my videos. But for now, I think this will do. Alright, thanks for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments. If you like the video, please like. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next one.